The Q11 is the latest vacuum robot from Neabot, and it's packed full of innovation. For starters, this is a LiDAR navigating robot with laser-based object recognition and avoidance, but it does not have a LiDAR dome on top. This means that this robot can fit under things that most other LiDAR robots cannot. Additionally, while this thing packs 4,000 pascals of suction, it is the quietest robot that I've ever tested. I had this robot cleaning in my house at night, every day for months, and it's never woken me up. The self-empty dock has always gotten the job done, and even though it's one of those that never completely empties itself, that really doesn't matter except to reviewers who like to do all kinds of funny tests. Consumers should really only care about one thing. Do you ever have to empty it yourself? If the answer is no, the dock is perfect, move on. Now, the reason it's taking me so long to review this robot, because I've had it for I think 3 months now, is that it was buggy. It was incredibly buggy. Not in the Ecovacs buggy way. It still did the job. It's just that every now and then it would skip room. Sometimes it would stop in the middle of a room and just sit there with a label called dormancy. And, you know, that's annoying. You can't rely on it to finish your cleaning job, so I figured I'm not going to review this until they straighten it out. And as far as I could tell, they fixed pretty much all of the bugs, and it's ready to go. Alright, I may have overdone it a little bit with the amount of debris that I put down on the floor. It's like every time I do these tests, I throw more and more stuff down. We've got oregano, flour, dog hair, and oatmeal. And the reason the oatmeal is there is to exacerbate the tendency of these robots to kick stuff around with their brushes. This one kicks debris around with both the side brush and the main brush. It spits stuff out the back. You'll probably notice that if you pay attention. This is on maximum suction, and you know, suction really doesn't matter on hard floors. The Roombas have very little suction, and well, the i7, J7 do, and they do a very good job. This robot does a good job. Don't get me wrong. It's not the best job. The best hard floor cleaning robot I've ever tested is the Roborock S6 Max V. But considering the amount of debris that I put on here, it did a really good job. Here it is on its second pass. Now this does have the laser object avoidance, and you can't turn it off, so it did a couple of funky navigation things because of it, but overall it did everything it was supposed to do. It spit out a little chunk of something. I don't know what that was, but it must have been stuck on a wheel or something, so let's ignore that. But other than that, it did a really good job. That piece of cracker in the corner, that was there before the test. I didn't notice it. Anyway, let's move on to carpet cleaning. So the 4,000 pascals of suction really come in handy here. The brush on Neabot is a little bit too fuzzy, meaning the bristles are too thick, and this also contributes to its tendency to rack up tons of dog hair and human hair, wrap it all around itself. But the suction definitely did help the carpet test. That's pass 1. It looks pretty good. And again, this is low pile carpeting. I'm going to add a medium pile carpet to my test mix shortly, but for now this is all I have. And it's doing a pretty good job. I think the only weakness of this robot when it comes to carpet is that fuzzy brush. It doesn't agitate, it doesn't let the rubber parts of it agitate the carpet as much as it should, so it leaves behind a little bit more than something like, let's say, a Dream Z10. But it is one of the better carpet cleaners that I've tested. I would say that as far as surface cleaning on low pile carpets, it's behind the Ecovacs T8 and the Dream Z10, but ahead of the Roomba i7. Alright, let's do the object avoidance. And here you're going to see some mixed results when you compare it to the only other laser avoidance robot I've tested, which is, again, the Dream Z10. So it got stuck on those shoelaces. It could be that it doesn't like the black color of the cords. So once I freed it from that, yeah, it completely bombed on the flat, round piece of rubber dog poop. I had to free it. It tried to suck it in, which is actually pretty impressive. It tried to suck in this giant piece of rubber, and it almost succeeded. So these other pieces of fake dog poop, it does a much better job than the Dream Z10. It recognizes both of them, and even though it kind of messes around with the one on the right with its brush, it doesn't run over it. So that wouldn't be a disaster. So for pet waste, I still think an AI robot is a lot better, especially with their latest updates. But for everything else, including cords or possibly just white cords, this thing does very well. The first Neabot I tested, the N1, is like a champion of navigating around chair legs, and this thing is about the same. Look at how expertly it weaves all around. Now, this is weird because it's phenomenal at going through these chair legs where it can fit. It's slightly larger than some robots, but here it can fit, right? Pay attention to that because this is the same chair that I use for the navigation challenge. Okay, now speak of the devil. Here's that same chair. Now notice, it can go through there, but it decides that it can't. I don't know why, I have no idea. It just gives up. Here, I tried it again. I tried it a few times. I've only filmed a couple of them, but it never... You could see that it could fit. It just doesn't want to. This is something that Neabot has to change in their firmware, because this thing's navigation is excellent. It's just that this particular type of obstacle, it's very pessimistic and just decides that it can't do it. Quitter. All right, so I removed the chair, and now the way it handles the rest of this is not only fairly impressive, but it shows you the advantages of this type of robot. So here it approaches that wall, and it doesn't bump around it. Like it's confident that, no, I can't go through there. Look, it's blocked. Probably because its laser is lower. So a Dream Z10, for example, bumped around there because its laser was set high. So it didn't see those chair legs. It just saw the two faces of the stools. Now here, it could actually fit under there, but again, it's pessimistic, and it decides that it can't. And then it tries to go through here, and I don't know what about this tells it to push on, but it actually moves that bottle out of the way enough to get through. And then, rather than going around, which is what I intended it to do, it pulled a fast one on me, and this is where not having a LiDAR dome comes in very handy. No LiDAR dome. Robot can fit through there, and is it about to give up? Nope. It goes right through, and it's free. Other than that weird behavior with the chair, this is an excellent performance. Alright, so this is what's in the dustbin. This nasty stuff. This is mostly like bird seeds and feathers and hair and stuff. So this is pretty full. And let's see if we can do this. Alright, so as I may have mentioned before, this thing has no problem with pet hair at all. My dog is shedding, and I have this cleaning the entire cleaning job, nightly scheduled job at once, and not once has there been any pet hair in it. But I haven't tested it with debris like this, so I'm kind of curious to find out. That's pretty good. That was a big nasty clump. Let's see if it'll get this on the second try. I mean, that's good enough for it to go back out there and keep cleaning, definitely. But I'm just curious. I already got it, so I guess it was just clumped. Also, this filter is disgusting, and that probably might have something to do with it. It's probably where the air comes in. What is this metal thing? Okay, the mop that comes with the Q11 is your typical underbody attachment. It's basically a glorified floor wipe, like all of them. But this is one of the better ones because it does not store water in here. This is just the pad attachment. The water is stored in the dustbin. So this part is the dustbin, and then in here, and then everything around it is the water reservoir. Okay, you pour the water in here. Here's your motor, which pumps the water out, so it's not gravity fed. And here is your water dispenser. So when I reviewed the Dream Z10, get back in there, I said that these these mops were essentially worthless. And I mean, as mops, they're floor wipes. So they drag this thing around and wipe the floor. Now, why is that? What makes them so bad? And the answer is weight distribution. So this is also a glorified floor wipe, right? Wrong. Because what's missing up here? A caster wheel. So when this robot is sitting on the floor, oh, look at how dirty this thing is on the side. When this robot's sitting on the floor, all of the weight of the robot is sitting on that mop. Well, not all of it, you know, half of it or whatever it is, most of it, okay, is sitting on that mopping pad. So when the robot pushes the mop, it presses down on it with its weight. Now, why is that important? Let's say you spill something and you have a pad and you want to wipe it. What do you think works better? This or this? That, right? When you want to wipe something, you push down on it. That's what robots like this do, and that's why all of these mops, no matter how they work, are not that good. Okay, so as far as hair tangles go, we've got 3 robots here. This is the Q11, the Dream Z10 Pro, and the Avoidance T8 AIVI. Each of these robots has done 1 nightly cleaning, and here is the Q11's brush. It's not horrible, but quite a bit of hair, and that does add up after a few days. The Avoidance, not bad at all, just that one tuft wrapped around. And the Dream Z10, which I mentioned in the review, was particularly adept at avoiding hair tangles. So compare these two for 2 extremes of these type of hybrid brush robots. Now the thing with the Dream is that after a couple of nights, it still looks pretty much like that. This might get a few more hair tangles. This gets all clogged up and starts looking like this other Neabot, which uses the same type of brush. And that's where it starts to compromise its cleaning performance. So it's not horrible, but it's definitely not the best out there. The Q11's app is what I consider a fully featured app, except for a full range of Google and Alexa commands. I don't think they have Google at all at this point, but they're adding Alexa slowly. So you've got your typical room cleaning, which the old Neabot app did not have. It did everything in zones. This actually also has zone cleaning, where you can make oddly shaped rooms, like my kitchen floor divider. The annoying thing here is that whenever you pick zone cleaning, it just decides randomly which one should be selected. So for me, it's the bedroom. I have to deselect the bedroom if I want to clean something else. But it lets you save a whole bunch of zones and, you know, send the robot there, which is very convenient. It also has spot cleaning, which is this little rectangle, but you can't change the size of it. I guess that's okay in light of the fact that you can make custom zones, but it would be nice if you could change it. So it's got other typical features like scheduling. This is my nightly 5 a.m. schedule. I know 5 a.m. for some people is waking up. For me, it's dead in the middle of the night. But schedules give you the typical flexibility in terms of where you want to clean, what zones, what rooms, what time, every day of the week, some days of the week, whatever. Room management is where you set up your room dividers. Unfortunately, you can't pick colors for the rooms. It picks it for you, but that's a small thing. Zone management is where you select the various zones. You can move them around, shape them however you want. One of the neatest features, I think, is the map management, where it saves a bunch of old maps, so that if something should go wrong with your current map, you could easily restore one of the older ones, and if you don't catch it in time, you have lots of opportunity to get one of the older ones. Notice that little yellow thing to the left of my kitchen, for example. That obviously isn't there, and it's some sort of glitch from its still somewhat buggy navigation and mapping algorithm. It doesn't cause any problems, but if it does later on, or if it gets worse, I can always just restore one of the older maps, so that's neat. So then you've got the cleaning history, which I use often. There's the one where I used for filming. There's the last one that was my nightly cleaning routine, which I check often just to make sure it hasn't screwed up, because as I mentioned, it used to be buggy and it used to mess up. It doesn't anymore. It hasn't for a couple of weeks now. It's been fine. So I have no reservations about recommending it. Dust management is rudimentary. It's collect dust or don't collect dust. Like, you can't tell it to collect dust faster. Other than that, you know, the app is good. They fixed almost all of the bugs. It's less buggy than a lot of other robots on the market. So good job, Neabot, and keep up with the improvements. This is a great product. Alright, so it's time to wrap this up and give you my thoughts. Should you buy the Q11? Well, that depends. There are better robots in this that are slightly more expensive. There are worse robots in this that are a lot more expensive. But this robot has some unique features that you should strongly consider. For example, it is the quietest robot I've ever tested. So if you like to have a robot run at night and you don't like to wake up because of it, this is something you should strongly consider. The lack of a LiDAR dome means that it could fit under things that domed robots can't, so that might expand the parts of your house that it can clean. Its object recognition is pretty decent. I think I would kind of trust it to avoid pet waste, at least most types. Its auto-empty dock does the job. Yeah, it leaves some debris in, but you never have to empty it yourself. I haven't had to in several months. It's always emptied itself good enough to keep cleaning. The brush is prone to hair tangles, but other than that, it's a great robot. So thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Mike, and this is Mr. Rumbato.